Okay, so for the next part of our design, we have a little flower and some swirls around. So first we're going to do the little flower and the stem with the little leaves. So the flower we're going to do from the front. The stem and the little leaves we're going to do in the same manner as we do these little details. We're going to do a ball and cup detail on the little circles, and this curvy pattern we're going to do from the back again. So from the front, I'm first going to draw in the outline of the flower, working on my semi-soft surface. We can then remove our semi-soft surface and we can flatten from the front. So we flatten on our hard surface. And then we can tidy up with the Teflon tool. And then we can add a little bit of height from the back. So we turn our pewter upside down, place it on our soft surface, and we add a little bit of height from the back. So I'm going to add a couple of detail lines as well. So I'm going to add a little detail line into each one of these little points. So from the center, I just draw in a detail line with a medium pressure. We can then turn our pewter back to the front, put it on our hard surface, and flatten again. After flattening, we can tidy up. And then we can define with our metal ball tool. So now I'm going to add the little dots. So I've got a ball and cup tool that I have to use on these dots. I've got two different sizes, two small ones and two big ones. So I'm going to do them on my soft surface because I've got a bit of a height issue here. So on the back, I'm going to add the first two big ones. And then we turn our pewter to the front and apply the cup. Then we can do the next one. Then from the back of our pewter, now I'm going to do the two smaller ones. You can flatten a little bit and then apply the cup over. So if you have some visible lines, use your paper stump to flatten your area nicely before we continue adding the lines. And then we can define with our metal ball tool around our circles. Okay, so now from the back we can add our curly lines in the same way as we did the stems and the main lines. So from the back of our pewter, I'm going to do the big one first. So again, I'm going to start in front of the flower, do the curvy line and stop in front of the little dot. After doing the first one, we're first going to do a round of flattening before we continue with the next one. So we place our pewter face up again on our hard surface and we flatten around. We can then use our Teflon tool, our sharp tip Teflon tool, to tidy up where the paper stump can't reach. We can then turn our pewter back to the upside down, place it on our hard surface so that we can define our lines from the back one last time. So you need to be very careful now. We are working with tiny details. And then we flatten from the front one last time. And then we can define with our metal ball tool. Okay, so now we're going to continue with the next two in the same manner as we did the first one. Again, from the back of our pewter on our lino, our semi-soft surface, I'm going to draw in my next curvy line. I'm again going to start in front, and now you need to be very careful because the two lines are getting very close to each other. I'm going to start in front of my flower, and I'm going to stop in front of my little dot. And then we're going to go back to the front of our pewter and we can flatten from the front again. So we remove our lino and we flatten with our paper stump from the front. And then we can tidy up with the Teflon tool. After tidying up, we can go back to the back of our pewter on our hard surface so that we can define our line one more time. Being very careful not to slip. There we go, and then we can repeat our flattening process from the front. So working from the front of our pewter on our hard surface, we can repeat our flattening process and then we can tidy up. And then we can define with our metal ball tool. We have one last one to do before this part of the design is done. So back onto our semi-soft surface, from the back of our pewter, we can draw in again a little bit in front. And we stop it a little bit in front. We can then flatten again, so we turn our pewter upside down or face up on our hard surface and we flatten from the front again. So this is getting very tight, so I'm not going to try and get in there with my paper stump. I'm going to go straight to my Teflon tool and I'm going to use the tip of my Teflon tool to flatten in between the lines. We can then define our line from the back on our hard surface using our sharp point Teflon tool. And then we can flatten again one last time. And then we can define. There we go. So that's our curvy lines done. So now we can move on to the stem. So the stem we're going to do also from the back, and the little leaves we're going to do in detail lines like we did these ones. So from the back of our pewter, on our semi-soft surface we can draw in the stem. So I'm going to start again a little bit in front of my flower and draw down the stem. Back to the front of our pewter, and then we can flatten from the front. We can define, and then define our little stem from the back again on our hard surface. Repeat your flattening process again from the front. And then we can define, and after defining we can draw in the little leaves. So there are 6 little leaves around the stem, and then 2 big ones, which is a little bit farther away. The big ones we're going to do with a high relief technique, so we're not going to do them now. So now in the next step we can continue adding the bigger leaves around the pattern, going all the way down using the high relief technique.